to my colleagues. Mr. Brown.
Chairman, thank you for coming. Mr. Chandler, thank you for coming tonight and giving us a little bit of information you did, and I assume you are here to answer some questions should we pose them. I would like to explain a little bit about what we have done in the past year with our zoning laws. Your advertisement that you say have been published, I've seen one of them, and in that advertisement it says, Cape Vincent Wind Farm to achieve a win-win for the community and local economy. The only way that we see a win-win is if you pay some significant attention to our new zoning laws. In January, the town board appointed a group of citizens, there were 10 of us, from all over the town, and charged us with looking at the existing zoning law. Obviously, part of that was to address wind energy conversion systems. 4 attempts have been made in the past 6 years to write a wind addendum to the zoning law. Each of these attempts ended in dismal failure because of the attitude of conflicted interests. These attempts were carried out in a very controlled fashion. Public input was not sought, let alone encouraged. The Zoning Law Committee, under the guidance of Mr. Curtin, established 2 irrevocable principles. Number 1, the health, safety, and welfare of the entire community, everybody, was paramount in all our decisions. The second one was all technical requirements were established in concert with recognized experts in their field. These were not established in Cape Vincent based on emotion or anything else. They were established based on technical experts, sound scientific knowledge, and we do have the experts to back it up, and we will bring them with us. The Zoning Rewrite Committee set up an operating method that encouraged public input. We were well publicized, meetings were in the paper. Initially, they were then talked about at the town board meetings. The town knew we were having the meetings and everybody was invited to come. From January 17th to June 4th, we met twice a week, 2.5 hours each time. The public was invited. The public was encouraged. During this entire time, neither BP nor any of the identified leaseholders attended these meetings and contributed in any way toward our coverage of wind energy conversion systems. We set up a formalized method where people could write a comment or suggestion. And we did record, we had them in a notebook, we still have them. There were no comments from anybody on setbacks, anything related to turbines. Setbacks, noise, vibration, anything. Apparently, BP had gotten to their leaseholders and said, stay away, ignore the process. To encourage to further encourage public participation, the committee insisted on having a public comment session before we submitted the draft to the town board in their public hearings. Again, we received no wind-related comments from BP or their leaseholders. Yes, we did receive a letter from you, Mr. Chandler, dated June 27th. And I'm going to try to quote the end of that letter. For parties interested in submitting applications to site wind energy projects in the town of Cape Vincent, The provisions contained within the proposed zoning law are unreasonably burdensome in view of existing wind generating technologies and/or the needs of costs to ratepayers. We respectfully request the town reconsider the proposed zoning law, taking into account the above comments. Mr. Chandler, we appreciated your effort, but you told us nothing. You did not make one suggestion on how you thought we could improve the law and make it more amenable to your needs. Again, when we had the formal town, the formal public hearing, when the town was looking at passing the law, we received no comments on WECs, wind energy conversion systems, from BP or anybody we could identify as a leaseholder. Some of the leaseholders made comments in other sections, but nothing having to do with wind. The result of these months of effort was a zoning law that contained many sections and requirements for industrial concerns that were similar to the types of requirements that were there for WECs. The law treats all of those concerns equally, independent of specific commercial business. So if there's a sound requirement for a turbine, the same sound requirement is for a quarry. We did not separate out wind turbines. Mr. Chandler, I was the chair of the zoning law rewrite committee. We spent a good deal of effort revising our law. Our law is very much reflects what our comprehensive plan says. The work resulted in a comprehensive zoning law that protects the health, safety, and welfare of the community. It is a just law. It does not discriminate against any one entity. This law is not up for grabs unless it can be demonstrated that a request fully complies with the health, safety, and welfare of our community. The request will not be considered. We believe this law is defendable under any review. A couple of quick questions, if I may, please. BP apparently decided they weren't going to participate, or their leaseholders participate in the law. And yet, in your PIP, in the last section, you say that you want to talk to the towns and then decide what local laws and ordinances the siting board should not apply. It's illogical to expect the siting board to vacate a law that you and or your leaseholders were offered the opportunity to participate in, but declined to do so. Can you explain the logic of that, please? How can you ask the siting board to vacate Cape Vincent zoning law when you were given numerous opportunities to participate in the development of it?
We are proposing a project that we believe the community supports. That can't happen unless we have a community that supports it. We can't build a project on land that we don't control. We have an incredible amount of support from the community. That is why we are here. That is why we are interested in moving forward with this project. We have continued to engage with the community and the board over the past several years, including this year, including over the summer months, time that we were spending on trying to optimize the layout that you see before you here. There was certainly uncertainty.
Who did you talk to? Just out of curiosity, from either board, the planning board, the town?
The response that we provided in the June timeframe was the best information that we had at the time to try to contribute to the discussion that the town was having regarding its draft zoning law. At the same time, the Article 10 process was also in a draft format. Given the regulatory uncertainty regarding how to move forward with permitting, we were trying to contribute to feedback in both of those processes while trying to work on a revised layout of optimizing the two projects. So only after getting a bit more clarity and certainty on where the town was going to end up with its zoning law in the August timeframe, I believe is when that was passed, and when the Article 10 process went final in the August timeframe as well, did we have enough certainty on what the options were that we could use to take the project forward.
Sir, you haven't answered my question. My question was, if you elected not to participate, and your leaseholders through you elected not to participate in the writing, the development and writing of this law, how can you go to the state and say the law was no good? You were given many opportunities to participate, and we did it directly through the entire town. I think your proper response to Mr. Macsherry was you worked with 4 or 5% of the town and assumed that they were going to officially notify our boards, and nobody did.
Again, we submitted a response in the June timeframe.
I read that last paragraph of that
To-
response, sir, and it said nothing as far as being helpful to the writing of the law.
We submitted a response in the June timeframe to notify the board that we had seen the draft zoning law and would ask the town to reconsider, because as drafted at that time and as is currently drafted, we do believe that the requirements are unduly unreasonable with respect to wind turbine technology.
What requirements, sir?
I am not prepared to comment on the specifics of that. I don't think this forum is the opportunity to do that. We will
Bob, could you,
have
I think Mr.
an
Chandler's,
application.
I think Mr. Chandler's answered the question to the best of his current ability, given the facts that he may have been provided by other parties. This is certainly not an inquest.
No, it's not.
Or a deposition, but that having been said, let's, if you've got additional questions, please ask him.
I won't take up any more time. Thank you, Mr. Chandler.